Hi, everybody. All right, so this weekend is Divination Pride 2024. It's happening Saturday, July 13th and Sunday, July 14th. And get this, it's free, it's by donation. Your donations go to a really good cause that help LGBTQIA plus people. But you don't have to pay anything. So, what I'm about to show you is actually a spread that I made some modifications to. But where did I learn this spread? I learned this at the last World Divination Association event. Okay? Every time you go to these things, you walk away with something you can use. And the one that starts tomorrow, you don't even have to pay for it if you don't have any money. And you're going to walk away with really, really great skills. So I'll be teaching there. I'm going to be teaching different divination systems. We'll be comparing 7 different divination systems and just sort of looking at like whether one might be thought to be better for a different kind of question. All right, and we're just going to kind of play around with that a little bit. But there's tons of great speakers, much bigger names than myself. Okay, today we are asking, what is blocking my intuition? All right, so see if this reading is for you. You're going to pinch your fingers together and ask, is this reading meant for me? And if it is, when you pull, your fingers will stay together. If it's a no, you'll pull and your fingers will come apart. So with this, what I'm looking for are problems. And I'm looking specifically for problems that are muddying up the emotional levels of your life. This all seems fine. Coffin is actually not a big deal in this context. That's what we want at your emotional level, for you to pick up messages. You maybe have a little bit of work stress going on, but it's not really creating a huge problem for you emotionally. You are actually kind of planted in your emotions for this. But this column right here, this is what's concerning to me, all right? So there's something going on, a kind of physical exhaustion, and that physical exhaustion is leading to wrong thinking, okay? So at a superconscious level, life is sending you clear, clean thoughts. Life is being gracious with you. It's sending you clear messages, but at an emotional level, they're having to basically be filtered through deception. Okay, so they're filtering through and they're just sort of getting stuck, so you can't get a clean answer. And I think that the problem here is your thoughts. All right? You might be a little tired from being stressed out from work. That might be a thing, but it's the fatigue itself that is your problem. And, 9 times out of 10, our fatigue is really more about how we're responding to what's happening than what's actually happening. We all know what that is, where your whole life just starts to, you respond to it with a series of monosyllabic grunts. God, do I really have to do this? God, I shouldn't have to do that. All of that kind of wrong thinking starts to just make you exhausted. And it also kind of makes you live against yourself in different ways that kind of create an emotional mess for you. And so those feelings, those divine sensations and pieces of information, when they have to filter through that, they just don't make it through. They get tangled in kind of the snare of bad feeling. So I was thinking we could look at Om today to try and get a sense of what you could do mentally to correct for this. Okay, so we have Kal, we have Adad, and we have Nyin. So Kal speaks to the energy of creativity, right? That kind of just excited intelligence that just steps into the situation and just starts improving everything. Adad is overcoming, right? It's dealing with those obstacles that life puts in your way. And Nyin is dealing with the cycles of rebirth. And so I think the message here is you need to start getting excited about coming up with new ways to get through your obstacles. When you see an obstacle, that is an opportunity for growth, okay? All personal power in your life comes from challenge. You've never grown a single step without challenge. So when you see a challenge, you need to actually start turning it into a game where you can start actually letting your creative juices flow and let that start working with the mess in front of you. Okay? And to do that, you are going to need to be able to let go of the past. All right? Yin is about birth, cycling, rebirth, cycling. And what happens is we often just grab on to something that we don't like and we just hang on to it and we don't let it cycle. For you to step into something new, which is what you want, you have to actually let that go. You have to let the old cycle go so that the new cycle can happen cleanly. The new cycle's happening, but you're dragging all this crap through it. So you have to let go and you have to just bring creativity to the actual problem in front of you. And again, it's about reframing life to make it more like a game, okay? To make it more like a puzzle to solve. So you're feeling exhausted. You've got all these bad thoughts about it. What can you do to start getting some of these thoughts under control? All right? You want to work on this from two angles. One, you want to actually do what you can to deal with the things that are creating the upset. But again, 9/10 of the problem is going to be you. 9/10 of the problem is you interpreting something that's not that big a deal as this giant injustice and annoyance. Okay? So, how are you going to get around that? I honestly think that's for you to figure out for yourself. If it were me, I would actually take all of those things and I would turn them into triggers for their opposite. So if there's a project that I'm scared of working on, maybe I would go deep into meditation and just kind of find my peace. And then maybe I would allow a symbol to arise and to kind of encapsulate that peace. And then every time I'm about to go near that project that I have bad feelings about, I am going to put that symbol in front of me as a protection from all of my thoughts about that project. To create a buffer. Find little ways to work with yourself, but they need to be creative ways, right? I just sort of came up with that right now. Another thing you can do is you can figure out how you feel about something and create a sentence, an affirmation to the opposite. Another thing you can do is you can ask yourself questions that are just better than the questions that you've got on automatic pilot. Like a really good one is, what if this is actually not a problem at all? What if this is totally fine the way it is? And you just kind of ask that with a feeling of curiosity, and you'll find it makes your subconscious start moving in different ways. Your brain's just an answer machine, right? It's a big dumb answer machine. So if you ask it better questions, it'll start answering those questions. The problem is people ask it questions like, why is this always happening to me? And your brain's a big dumb answering machine. So it's just going to give you answers, even if it's not your fault that it's happening, or if it is your fault but it's not a big deal. Your brain instead is just going to go, I wonder what are all the things they've done wrong in their life that could explain why life is dumping this on their head right now. And that's what it'll give you. So you got to be careful how you interact with questions in your life, because your body will try and answer those questions at a deep level. A better question is, how is this maybe not a problem at all? How is this maybe fine exactly the way it is? And just wait and see what bubbles up. Okay? If you do that, you will start to change your wrong thinking, and that will start to clear some of this up. And I think you'll get your energy back and you'll start to become more intuitive. All right, everybody. That's what I have for you. I would love to see you this weekend, July 13th and 14th, 2024, for Divination Pride. You can also find me on hiddenpathways.com if you'd ever like a reading of your own. Otherwise, I'll see you in another video.